Hello there, Coach Tina here. How are my champions this morning? It's Monday morning motivation time, and our topic is wondering if it ever seems to you like everything else is more important than the thing that you want to do. You know, this has resonated with me at times. It just seems like I have this plan, and then something comes up and I don't get to do the thing the way that I wanted to do. Now, it's been interesting because I've been reading certain people's posts, and they've been saying this statement of take care of yourself first. How does that resonate with you? You know, my experience has been that when you're living a life where everything else is more important than what you want, taking care of yourself first feels kind of foreign. So I see that there are people on with me this morning, and I just want to say hi. I'm Coach Tina. Happy to have you be here. And if you don't know me, I am a certified ULA life coach and the Empowering Champions community founder, as well as a genuine soul. I have been speaking to this community for over a year now, and I know that you guys know that I have total love and care for who you are and what it is that you're doing, because I truly want to make an impact. Now, our topic today might hit some, might not, but I know that there's this draw sometimes to do other things than the things that are most important to us. So I have a little quiz, and hopefully you can answer below. If you have a busy day, packed with things to do, and then something comes up, which of the following is most likely to slide off of your list of things? Is it working out? That's A. Is it B, making a healthy meal? Like everything's just so slammed, you just go through a drive-through because there's no way you can do it all. Or is it C, you give up going to bed on time and sacrifice some sleep so that you have that extra hour or so to do the work that you need to do? So the question is, when you have a busy day, which is more likely to slide? Do you feel for yourself, because it's going to be different for everybody, right? Is it working out? That's your A. Is it making a healthy meal? That's your B. Or is it C, getting the rest that you need? And if you have a D and other, go ahead and put that in, and then tell us in the comments what your other is, the thing that happens to you a lot. See, today we're talking about our Monday morning motivation, but my promise is that by the end of this short video, you're going to be able to put yourself first, but not compromise your values. And we're going to talk about that because there's really no judgment here. I'm not talking about what you're doing as being a right or a wrong, or just because you're different than what other people say that there's a problem. No, this is an awareness opportunity. This is our chance to get in touch with what's really going on when we have these things come at us and we sacrifice our intended results in order to accommodate others. You know, it's interesting because at my age, I can look back at when I had my kids, and, you know, there was the chaos of being in the home and everyone going to school and all the stuff going on. And it's easy to see where I made doing everything for them the priority, and I let myself take the background. If it's easy for me to see that now, but not when I was in it, at this age, what else is happening to me that I'm blind to, that I'm not aware of, that I'm not focused on and seeing, right? This is an eyes open experience. So the first point I want to talk about, and I do reference my notes because I have a lot of things to say to you guys today, and I would love to know if you're on live, go ahead and put hashtag live, or if you're watching the replay, let me know that as well. I love interacting with the comments in the group. It might be till later in the day before I get back to you, but I love to see how my work is impacting you. So please comment on there so that I know that I'm getting through. And plus, when you put the comments or the likes or the hearts, what happens is Facebook sees this post as good material. And then it will show more people in our community and it will get the word out. And that's what I really want to do, is help people to be the best version of their self, to operate at the highest potential possible. And that only comes when we work on ourselves. So item number one in our discussion about it seeming like everything else is more important than what we want. The first thing is asking you, what do you really want? Have you actually defined this? Or do you even know that that's what you really want? Does it feel right to you when you're doing this? Like, maybe you've planned a relaxing weekend and then something else comes up that's a little bit more chaos and it resets your priorities. Do you respond in kind and get caught up in the chaos? Or do you step back and hold the position of, you know what? I am in a really great place and I don't want, the sun is coming in my room. So enjoy the sunshine on my face. I'll try to step back here, but I think it's going to chase me in a minute. What do you want? When we don't define what we want, we can't get it. I know that makes sense to you guys. Oftentimes I'll talk about the pizza. If you go to a pizza store, you order exactly what you want. Or, case in point, you order what everybody else wants and you eat their kind. I know this is a big thing as a mom, right? My kids liked cheese pizza. I liked everything. And to save money, I would eat cheese pizza so we would have the one pizza. But if you were ordering your own personal sized pizza, what would it have on it? It would have all the goodies. You would go into the store and you would say, oh, I love Blaze pizza. So I want my cauliflower crust and the spicy sauce on it. And I like sriracha, like a vegan topping that's kind of spicy and things my kids don't like, right? I know what I want. And I would be surprised if when I got my pizza, it didn't have what I wanted on it. If it was just cheese pizza, I would say something about it. But if you don't declare what kind of pizza you want, then when you get a pizza with anchovies, you're like, oh, okay, I can do this. So you have to decide what you want in life, order it off the menu, if you will, and then respond in kind. If you don't get what you want, what are you going to do about that? Are you going to keep saying, well, it's okay. I know you didn't have time to make my pizza, so I'm okay with that. No. If you order a pizza, get a pizza. Get the pizza you want. So first you have to know what you want, and it has to feel right with you. It has to align with the truth. And the second thing is, what's going to keep everything else from being more important than what you want is when you know your priorities, when you are clear on what's more important than the other. And it's not saying that your let's just say family. Most of us have God and family right up there at the top of our priorities. And oftentimes it comes in next with our way to provide, our job, because it takes so much of our time. Those are our priorities. But yet, when something happens in our job, we put our families on the back burner. I can't go to that game today because I have this meeting. And there's times when that's okay, but you have to be clear on, if family's first and something comes up at work, to be able to say, you know what, that's not going to work for me. I've told my family that I'm not going to miss a soccer game, and that's what I'm going to do. And I'm using these examples from past. I don't go to soccer games anymore, right? But how you do anything is how you do everything. And what you start to recognize in life is that how you reacted in that situation, even though it was soccer, you probably have patterns like that in your life now, where when they come up, you start to go, this is kind of like how it was before, but you don't recognize it because it's wearing different clothing. So one of the reasons why people struggle with priorities is boundaries. A lot of people don't understand boundaries or weren't raised with good boundaries, and so they don't know where they end. They feel like they have to go in and rescue and do everything for everybody else, that it's their responsibility what everybody wants. But in the end, that's not true. I heard something recently that I really loved, and it said that even God works within boundaries, and he put boundaries in heaven. And I thought that was interesting because he talks about the gates of heaven. There are gates to get through, and there's defined structure to heaven. So why would we not want to have that in our own world? And that's why if you know your values, then you can set those priorities. And it's easier for you to discern whether something truly is an emergency or not, right? Where maybe on that day that's really busy and you have to let something slide, it doesn't become the working out. The working out, or maybe the breath work, the meditation you need to do, that still becomes front of line because you recognize that if you don't get that time in, you're not going to be that person that you want to be anyway. When you're operating from major stress mode, you don't give properly. And if you're not taking care of your body, sure, you can skip a meal every once in a while, but if you skip a meal constantly, what happens? Before you know it, your body's exploded. You're full of sodium. You have no energy. You've been depleted, and you don't get that back. So when things go crazy in your life and you decide to skip that meal, what is it costing you in the end? How can you align yourself with, I know that there's an emergency going on, but I'm going to stop and I'm going to take 5 minutes and take things out of my refrigerator that will fill me up in a way that will allow me to manage this crisis in a better way. The thing is this is awareness. You have to take those moments and go, okay, I get it. Yeah, I need those extra moments. All right. And our third thing, actually, I'm going to finish up one thought on that. And that is, if we only work out on one part of the body, right? Have you ever seen a bodybuilder that's like only does their legs and like they've got the little tiny wimpy arms? It doesn't really happen, right? Or someone who's like completely buff up here, but no definition in their legs. No, most people work with a balance. They find a way to take it all in and yet still have that benefit across the board, or else the imbalance puts you under. So the third thing is knowing your goals. You really need to have them written down. Otherwise, it's like writing in sand, right? The waves come in and wash it away, and then you don't even know what you had, and you have to start over, and it gets frustrating. So document your goals, your big, high-reaching goals, and then break them down into smaller components. So most people like to operate on a 90-day goal set. So you say 90 days from now, you set that date. So we're on the 15th of the month. 90 days from now would be November 15th. You know what you want to achieve in the next 90 days, and they align with what you want on your big goals and dreams list. And then you take that and you keep them in front of you. Like write down your 90-day goals and post them throughout the house. Put a card in your car. on your phone cover. See it every day. In fact, write it out every day is really the best way to do it, because then it gets your hand brain coordination going, so that your reticular activating system, that little piece of your brain that looks for patterns, starts to say, oh, if that's your goal, then here's an opportunity. Oh, this chaos thing came up, but that's not on your goals list. And you'll start to have that awareness of, if I am going to have what I want, not only can I not do everything, but I have to keep my priorities in order. So, yes, you can have your relationship with your kids as a major priority. But how can you have that and the things that you want, right? How can you stack activities with your family that still lead you to your goals? I know that everybody has a different value system, a different way of aligning with their goals. When my kids were younger, before my oldest was able to drive, I remember a woman that I worked with saying to me that, she said, I bet you're going to be excited. Your kids are almost old enough that you could hire a high school person to drive them home and stuff. And I remember being offended and saying to her, well, I don't want that. And she said, what do you mean? It just gives you so much more time. And I thought, more time for what? Like, I want to be that person in my kids' life. The best times we had were when I picked them up from school and we could talk about their day and find out what was, what homework assignments were going to be like, and spent time together in that magical moment where I had their full attention, right? We'd walk in the door and other things would happen, but that time in the car, we were in our own little world. So when you know your goals, when you have them written down and they're in front of you, like my kids were my goals right there, right? I wanted them to be a success. The goals are your guide, not the marketing, not other people saying this is what you need. You know what you want, and you know that you're on track, and you speak up, or else it doesn't work, right? So you may have noticed the title of today's live was Ice Cream, You Scream, We All Scream for Ice Cream. And that's always been a fascinating quote to me, because I've often wondered, what in the heck? What does it even mean? But I think it's really about a win-win situation, right? Like when you first hear that, you're thinking, I scream. You scream in anger. You scream in frustration. You scream because you're not getting what you want. And other people are screaming as well. But what if we were screaming for the good things? What if we were holding our own for ice cream? I mean, the thing is, everybody wants ice cream. We all want the good things in our life. And I want that for you too. So that's why we're having conversations about things like this, because if you don't have an awareness of what you're giving up in your life, then you're not going to see that you have to sacrifice some of the small stuff to get the really big stuff. Climb and get that fruit on the top of the tree. So are you going to put yourself first? I promised earlier that you can do this without compromising your values. How are you going to do that? Well, again, let's think back to our kids, right? I knew that healthy eating was important when my kids were growing up, and they didn't really want to have anything to do with it. Now, if I was operating under the premise of I only have to do what other people want, then I wouldn't have made vegetables for myself, let alone asked my kids to eat some vegetables, right? But no, I held on to the vegetables are important and we should eat our vegetables. And even though my kids didn't like them and, a bite or two was enough for them, I still ate my vegetables in front of my kids at dinner. I hemmed and hawed about how great they were, and they got to see me eat vegetables, even though they didn't like them and had strong opinions about them. But guess what? Now that they're older, they like their vegetables. They saw the benefit. And I didn't have to give up what I wanted because of what they wanted. We got to have a happy medium between us. So my hope is that you are enjoying this material today and that you've gotten a chance to kind of get in touch with an awareness on what you want versus what you need versus what everybody else is telling you should have. And I would love to have a further discussion if you want to hop on and have a conversation. So if that's you, go ahead and put hashtag ice cream in the comments. I would love to talk to you more. And I hope you have a really blessed week. Take care.